Yeah, you know what? I thought, honestly, I thought, two nights we got beat. And tonight it was one of those games that it was, up until that eighth, it was a, very good ball game. Could have went either way. I felt that, once PD got in there was some soft contact that found some outfield grass, and, game got away. But, tonight I just felt that we got beat. So, we'll get a day away from this to reset. And, we got Clayton going Game 6. So, that's a game we expect to win.
And over here to the right.
Hey, Dave. Is everything okay with Kenta physically? And if so, why take him out right there before John Lester comes to bat?
Well, I think that Kenta is fine physically. For me, I felt that at 3 2/3, he was around 75 pitches, and I felt that he was starting to lose that fastball command, and I thought the breaking ball wasn't as sharp. And, Lester put a good swing on that ball in his first at bat, and so I didn't see Kenta getting fouler. So I like the Fields matchup if for some reason we lost Lester. At that point in time, I wanted to make the move to knowing that Kenta wasn't going to get fouler anyway. So I felt that Fields can go in there, throw strikes, and, beat Lester with velocity.
And over here to the left.
Dave, you did some of the things you talked about, took some huge leads there. Are you trying to have an impact on Lester, psychological, whatever? Did you think it had any impact? And if not, is that a credit to him?
It's certainly a credit to him. I thought that when we did get a little bit of traffic, I thought that, we put a little pressure on him. But, he's a great pitcher. He's a great pitcher who competes and finds ways to get outs when he needs to. So we had some opportunities, but, those guys got the hit when they needed.
And over here to the right.
Dave, you talked yesterday about being a firm believer in momentum. How much has not been being able to build early offensive momentum been an issue for you? And also, do you see any glimmers of hope for that offense early on?
I do. I think that it is nice to get a lead. And so, the last 2 nights, those guys have been able to get a lead and put a little pressure on us. But so I think that, I do believe in momentum, but I also believe that, the next day starting pitcher has a lot to do with momentum. So I like our guy. But, I thought that, we just couldn't break out with that big hit against Lester. But to his credit, he found ways to get that out.
And again to the right.
Dave, I know you guys are used to it, but do you fear at all that Baez's pace might make things difficult on defenders? And is it something that's frustrating for you to watch if he takes a long time?
Pedro's very methodical, but, we've talked about the pace of play, and trying to kind of speed that up. But I think our guys make no excuse about, how fast or slow a guy works. And, actually, Pedro, if you look at the execution of pitches, it wasn't that bad as the line score. I think for me, it was a matter of not trying to extend him too much tonight when I felt that the game got to a certain point. And so after throwing 27 pitches last night, and then to get him up over 30, I thought didn't make sense. And I wanted to get a fresh arm in there, wanted to get Ross in there. But, Baez hit a good cutter away and cleared the bases. But I think for me, you always want to keep in mind the health of the player. So, Pedro, it's a work in progress as far as the pace, but I think that he still pitched considerably better than the line.
And to the left standing.
Dave, hi. Despite the national media's love affair with this Cubs story, there doesn't appear to be a huge chasm in talent between these two teams. In your off time, do you ever think about how much the media, the nation wants them to win, and maybe it leaves you at a disadvantage or somehow disregarded?
No. You know what? I think that I don't think that has any bearing on the last 2 nights. That's a good club over there. That's a good club, and I think it would be a discredit to our guys to use any of that as motivation, to spite the the media, the public, or whatever, that narrative. I think for us, we're trying to win baseball games to advance, and that's our only focus. And so, I think that, I talked a lot about, all season about the noise, and all that stuff has no bearing on the outcome of a game.
And over to the right, John.
Dave, obviously you have to have a 2-game winning streak now on the road. I wonder what your comfort level is that you get to try to do that with Kershaw and Hill, who kind of dominated this team earlier in the series.
It's, you look at the series where we're at, we're down a game, but we've won on the road before. We've won 2 games before. And, I think that for us, it's an isolated focus on Game 6. And, we get a rested Kersh. And so with that, we feel good. And, after we get through Game 6, then we'll focus on Game 7. But I think our confidence, Joe, hasn't wavered.
And all the way in the back, right?
Lester clearly seemed to be agitated by some of the tactics that you had. Do you think he fed off that, or do you think it worked at all to his advantage?
I don't know. I mean, that might be a question for John, but I thought that, winning pitches by show and bunt and getting into a good hitter's count goes to the hitter's advantage. But again, this guy is an ultimate competitor, and he's going to find a way to get outs. And obviously, he and David Ross have a great rapport, and David did a nice job settling him down at certain times. But it comes down to you look back at certain at bats where we had opportunities, and he made the pitch.
Hey, Dave, looking at some of the things Baez has done, the play tonight in the field, and Chris Bryant hauling down the first on that single, and seems like they're diving in everywhere. Have they sort of used their speed and athleticism to disrupt things, and does that really make them stand out amongst other teams?
Well, they're very athletic. They've got a nice mix of youth and some veteran players, but under Joe, his leadership, those guys play the game the right way. It's a fun team to play against. They've been the class of the National League all year. And obviously, Baez, a very talented, special player. And I wouldn't say that their speed or athleticism kind of flustered us. It's just more of they've made plays when they needed to. And Baez has made some very nice defensive plays. Fowler in Game 1 made some great plays. So, and Bryant plays the game the right way. Gets down the line, legs, infield singles out. And, again, I think our guys do the same thing. So it's, this series certainly isn't over. But it's fun to compete against guys like that.
And to the right.
Hey, Dave, you could argue that the series is turned on a couple Joe Blanton sliders. What are you seeing there, and you think he's fighting fatigue at all?
You know what? I think that Joe feels good because, after that still makes pitches, and I think it's just if you look back at he made a couple mistakes in the series, and we paid for it. But as far as fatigue, I think Joe feels great, feels strong. And, he'll be the first to tell you that he needs to execute a pitch. So, when you look at Game 6, Game 7, I'm not going to shy away from going to Joe.
To your right, Ken.
Dave, I know you've got the off day tomorrow. I know you've got Kersh Saturday. But how concerned are you with the non-Jansen part of the bullpen? It's been a battle the last 2 nights.
It has been a battle. It has been a battle. And, those guys over there, they compete. They don't give many at-bats away. And, they spoil pitches, they run counts, and so when you do make a mistake, these guys can slug. So, these are the guys we have. These are the guys that got us here. So I think that, again, I'm not going to shy away from any of these guys, but obviously, you look at going into Game 6, he'll have a few days off, and, we've got our ace going. So, it'll give our guys a chance to reset. But again, these guys have got big outs for us all year long.
We'll take just a couple more for Joe. Dave. Over here.
Dave, it's been such a good year for the bullpen, but I believe 43 innings is the most out of any team in the postseason by a bullpen. Does it seem like fatigue is kind of impacted your bullpen?
No, you know what? I think with the postseason, there's off days in there, and we're probably, I'm going to the pen a lot. I am, but I think that there's certain times where I feel that the game might be in the balance at a certain point, and I've got to make a decision. And so it doesn't always work. But, I feel confident that, you keep putting these guys in position to get guys out and have success, then, that formula will work. But, again, if you look at this series, there's a couple pitches that they took advantage of, a couple opportunities that we didn't take advantage of on the offensive side, and that's the difference in the series.
And one last one over here to the left.
Hey, Dave, going back to the base running, I think Kike in the first inning, Corey in the sixth, and Jock, I think, in the seventh. We're on first base, didn't steal, but we're able to get very large secondary leads. If they're that far out, why not just send them?
Well, I think that, they're not, the prototypical base stealer, and David Ross still throws the ball well, and even John Lester, there was some 1-1-5, some 1-2s, and you still got to get a pretty good jump. So it's like, and also when you start getting behind in the game, you don't want to give outs away by just stealing, and it's just the high fastball that, you're throwing out, it's just not worth it, where you could potentially get an extra base hit to get the game closer. So you really got to be certain if you're going to do that.